continue to do that in the future until the next election, and hopefully we can get a greater number in the House.
Would it be fair to, oh, I'm sorry.
Just wanted to, again, reinforce, based on civility and respect, it was very successful. And I think that that's something we can all be proud of. But there were some unanswered questions. Again, healthcare being a big one for me. We all campaigned on jobs, and as Don and Patty had alluded to, I don't know if we should feel real good about that.
What should have been in there for jobs?
I think that there should be more help for small businesses and thinking about, I think it's 90% of the businesses in Vermont are small, and I'm not sure that we help them out a whole lot. When I saw, it raised my eyebrows when Vince Aluzzi, I think he voted against the jobs bill, and he was on the conference committee. So.
But what were you pushing for to get in that jobs bill?
Well, I'll tell you, when we go back to,
Sure.
property taxes, when you talk to small businesses, they all talk about how challenging it is to pay their property taxes. And again, that goes back to the education and property tax reform, which a few years ago was all the talk here. It was interesting, when I first came here, that was the big talk. Nothing was done, and then we moved on to, or I guess maybe it was healthcare first, and it was Catamount. And so then we had Catamount, which is now bankrupt. And then the big talk was property tax and education reform. Nothing was done on that. There's the 2-vote. That's what came out of that, was a 2-vote bill that we just repealed this year. And now it's healthcare again. But yet we didn't address education the first time. We didn't address healthcare the first time around.
Do you feel like there's always an issue, a new issue every year that's getting in the way of that? I feel like last year it was Yankee, this year it was the healthcare reform. Is that what you're saying, Pat?
Yeah, it's like the issue du jour, right? Whatever the big, and that's it's an interesting buzz because the other things don't go away. Like I said, we didn't do anything on property taxes; they're still high. But I think the press has to do with that too. It's what's being talked about now. People get tired of, you get weary of the one issue that goes away, and something else comes up. And so healthcare is back, and it's just, the same people who gave us Catamount are the ones working on this healthcare bill, which is concerning. A lot of the same people.
Would it be fair to say, you're talking about the listening tour, is that what you
Oh,
call
we
it?
haven't named it. We've started talking about it. We've started organizing it.
Would it be fair to say that one of the purposes of the tour is to travel around the state and get your viewpoint out to Vermonters with the hope that you will have more positive results in 2012?
I think that would be a very fair statement. I mean, I think what we want to do with that tour, though, is bring back, here's what people are saying.
Yeah, I think our viewpoint is based on what we're hearing from in our districts, is, people's concerns, that's where our viewpoint is coming from. So we're not trying to oppose our point on anybody, but trying to bring, what you're saying, we're trying to bring their concerns.
Bring their
here.
message here. We're sent here to bring their message, but it seems to fall upon deaf ears when we get here sometimes. So we're going to make sure that is the message, and we're going to bring it back hopefully stronger.
Can you give some specific names that you think would be good contenders for governor next year? People that you think would, there's nobody, we're 18 months away now.
Peter Hirschfeld keeps coming up.
Yeah. When does that have to happen? Don't you, when do you have to?
I really am not that familiar with that, Peter. I think that one thing that I am happy to have is Tate Brooks and Pat McDonald involved in the GOP now, our relationship with Phil. We are communicating on a much more regular basis, so we are working through those things. I think that's their role. We'll be there to help, but I don't think that's my role to stand here and tell you who I think might be a good candidate.
I hear all three of you kind of holding up Peter Shumlin as this paragon of fiscal responsibility. You all agree with him wholeheartedly about no new taxes. Do you need a different? Can Republicans be happy with the governor that's there now? Do you support him for another term?
I think that there are going to be a number of candidates that will come forward and have interest in the governor's race. I haven't spoken to him, but I haven't talked to Brian Doobie. We'll see what his intent is there.
And I would imagine whoever comes forth from the Republican side is gonna be also saying that there's no more taxing capacity in the state, but yet their other priorities would be more aligned with ours as well. So I'm sure we'd be able to get behind a Republican
One of
gubernatorial candidate.
One thing I would like to touch on is something Phil touched on earlier, Peter, is that I don't think absolute control is good for Vermont. And like Phil, I wouldn't care if it was a Republican governor, Republican House, Republican Senate, or what we have now. So my hope is that we don't have that same setup going after the 2012 election. Whether that means we have more people in the House, more people in the Senate, or a different governor. But I don't like what we have now. I don't think it's good for Vermont. I think it's actually pretty scary to think that 2 people or 3 people can pretty much set the agenda and get anything they want passed, enacted in the state at this point.
But isn't that what voters want? I mean, didn't voters make a statement in 2010 that they like these Democratic candidates and this is, they got what they wanted?
Did, right, 54%.
I'm not sure they all voted for the same people, you know, you can't say that that was a big plan statewide. I mean, when you look at how many races we had, people lost by 1 vote. I mean, we had 2 of those alone, people lost in a 2-seat district by 4 votes. I mean, I think it was very close, so I think it's safe to say more than 45% of Vermonters, this isn't what they wanted.
Who's hosting this event? Who's putting this event on right now?
I think
Is
it's
it
a
the
joint-
Republican Party or?
Well, I think it's just a joint.
Yeah, I think that, I was approached by the House, Don
All right.
and Patty, because they felt that after the wrap-up from the Speaker and the Pro Tem last week, that they thought that we should wrap up the session as well. And so I was approached by them to see if we could do that. They were planning on doing it, and I just said, sure, I want to support you, so I think they did a good job.
So is it a little awkward for you, Phil, to praise the work of House Republicans, but not that of Senate Republicans?
Oh, I think that they did well, too. I mean, they're.
Where are they?
Well, I think they were, I think the Senator Doyle was tied up today and couldn't make it, so I thought that maybe I could represent them as well.
Because I was curious, you had such praise for them, and I didn't hear any praise for Senate
Well, they have
Republicans.
bigger numbers. You know, they have all of,
It wasn't an
Almost
intentional
50.
slate, it was just that.
no, not at all. No, again, I just somewhat tagged on to what they were doing, and so.
And also you see yourself still as a senator, you want to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still one of them at times, so. But I think, you know, I'm sure they'll have statements of their own as we go throughout the summer in terms of reacting to what happened during the session.
And what's the soundbite message gonna be for you guys going into 2012? What's the bumper sticker for
And come
Republicans?
up with it, yeah.
I think, you know, there's still a lot of time for, I mean, we have some time, I mean, we're only 1 week out of session. I mean, and I think it's time that we need to continue to communicate with all senators, lieutenant governor, the GOP, and then we'll continue to develop that. But my mindset is going back to work. Like Phil said, a lot of us have jobs outside of here, so when that gavel went down on the 6th, I was a happy guy, just like everybody else, I think, in that room. So, you know, people gotta get back in their regular lives, and then we'll start to put that plan together as we move forward. Back to work. Back to work.
Buy local, it's not just for hippies, is that yours?
Oh, that is one of my taglines right here. Buy local, it's not just for hippies anymore. We're actually going out on that campaign throughout the summer, because I do believe in it, and I, again, campaigned on that, but we're going to a number of parades and so forth without my banner, so to speak, but more about buying local, being more aware of where you buy and who you buy from, and buy from your neighbor. And so it's been a lot of fun. We developed the tagline, you know, it's not just for hippies anymore, it's somewhat of a tongue-in-cheek, having some fun with it. And so it's been well received so far in the areas that we've gone to.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.